Hello, my name is Rohan Kapur. I am a QA automation engineer at Google. In this video, I'm going to give you a tour of the Google testing lab that is actually an apartment building in a real life environment. The purpose of this testing lab is to introduce real life scenarios in a real life environment for the purpose of Wi-Fi testing, right? We are in the development process of the new Wi-Fi 7 that has to be FCC compliant. We have deployed to many different customers, so we are in the compliance stages, but we also are deploying and testing and doing many different iterations through many different customers, Google being just one of them. I won't get into the details of that, but to let you know, I do service a Google product, and the purpose of this video is to show you how, in a real life environment, do we control variables and introduce stress into our environments to do testing. This is just an overall QA mindset video that I would like to showcase what is the mindset of a QA when you're in this real life environment. So I'm going to start by showing you my workstation here. Sorry, I'm getting tangled up. So in my workstation, I have a few different setups here. I'm very fortunate to have that. But in this setup here, we have a couple different things going on. So first, I have a couple Python scripts running, and these Python scripts are depicting some data, right? And these are obviously in real time. So let me just settle this down here. Now, this top one here is depicting some stats about traffic. As you can see, we see RX throughput at 57. This is April 10th at 12:39 p.m. So this is the traffic, the total Wi-Fi traffic in this environment currently under this network, right? The specific Wi-Fi that I'm testing. So at 57, that's pretty high for, a real life environment. That means I'm putting a decent amount of traffic. There's active traffic, obviously, at a somewhat high rate. Okay, and then down here we have something called channel utilization. This depicts the overload or how much a channel is being utilized due to the traffic or due to actually external factors that, quite unfortunately, we can't control. Now, we can control this to a certain extent, and that's why in this environment, I'm actually putting max traffic. I'm trying to see the stress, I'm trying to introduce a lot of stress to the environment. So actually, we're at a pretty high rate right here for 5G. In this environment, our channel 11, our 2.4 gigahertz, will always be overloaded. We're next to many different neighbors who also probably have 2.4 gigahertz networks. In general, that network is prone to congestion, right? So our channel 1, 2.4 gigahertz, and our channel 11, don't get confused, channel 1 can also operate on the 6 gigahertz level, but not in this instance. Our channel 161 is our 5G radio, and then our 221 is our 6 gigahertz radio. And like I said, these are pretty high rates for these channels and these radios, but that's because of the amount of traffic that I am introducing. So as you can see, I'm displaying traffic here on some Apple TVs. These are some other streaming devices, Roku. We have a Chromecast Ultra, Shield TV, and then another Apple TV Generation 1. Over here, I was doing some testing on the PS5, and that's a big component of Wi-Fi testing gaming, QoC, quality control, that type of things. Again, we have some more live videos being played. These are actually the YouTube stats that display network stats. And as you can see, I always have that on all our TVs. So going to here, this is what I have actually built. This is an automation cart. And actually, this cart suffices to a lot of different testing of mobile devices. I like to put up to 10 devices that I can do at a time. Right now I'm running Android devices, but I have run automation on iOS. But right now this script is actually, you can see it in live action here. It's doing an association test. So as you can see, it's entering the Wi-Fi password, connecting, and then I'm testing this network called A Home Wi-Fi. And this network is a Wi-Fi 7 network. That's where it's being tested. And the purpose of this test is that I'm doing a forget network, and then I'm testing the association. Not only am I checking that it's been connected and there's no false error message that happened, but I'm also checking the frequency in which that connection occurred. So right now it's on a 5.8, that's a 5G radio, that's channel 161, and an RSSI of minus 61. So you can see all these stats here. This whole paragraph is being fetched and stored onto my PC, which I'll show you here. Here's another device going in action. So it does a forget network, and not only does it a forget network, then it has to search up for that same SSID and then click on it, and then enter the password for it. So that ran on the Pixel 7. It's running in a round robin, so now it's going to run here. So essentially, it's running in order of the JSON file, and after it does one test, it moves on to the next device, does the test there, then the next device, and it's a cycle. It's an iteration. So here it's doing the test. So like I said, it does the forget network, then it clicks on that same network, enters the password, and then clicks connect. So once it clicks connect, I'll show you what it's going to be showing here on my PC, the stats that it's fetching, and so it's saying. So like I said, it's fetching all those stats. Connected. The frequencies are now on 7055. That's channel 221 or 6 gigahertz radio. So that's a good connection. At this far distance, that means pretty solid association, right? And you can see that that I am running rounds of this. 1 second. The way that it's set up is that the user would enter the number of cycles, and somewhere here it will say what cycle it's on. Just give me a second to find it. That's interesting. So looks like we have a live bug here. You can see this phone is trying to connect, but it's taking an awfully long time to connect, and it's actually starting to fail, looks like. So this is exactly why we use automation, right? Because we're doing this thing in a repeated cycle, and now that it's didn't connect through the automated click, I have to do it manually. But this at least shows me, hey, there's an issue now. The script isn't smart enough to continuously do it. I could develop it to do that. Like if it fails the first time, try again. But we want to see those fail attempts because it elicits an issue that needs to be filed, and that's why we utilize automation. So you can see that for a long period those network stats were not available, and so in these logs I can go through and see if that's a reoccurring issue, what's kind of going on. So the cycle, so this runs in cycles, so around 39 run out of 10,000. So essentially, if it runs a full cycle on all these devices within the JSON file here, so here I have all the devices listed, right? So starting with the Galaxy A54, the Google Pixel 7a, the Galaxy S21, S22 Ultra, S22 regular, and then the Google Pixel 8. It runs in order, right? So after it completes the whole cycle, that's one round. So that concludes the video of just what I've been doing today and kind of the overall depiction of Wi-Fi and how we test. This is a separate room for my coworker, and like I said, we have traffic running, different stations open and available to do testing. These are our separate APs that are what you call extender APs for a mesh environment. These are also a separate hardware that we also test. So it just goes into the fact that we're not just testing one AP, one network, we're testing multiple APs through multiple different networks, Wi-Fi 6E, Wi-Fi 7, and we're doing so in a very controlled way, in a very independent way of not only external but internal issues, and also dependent on a lot of external and internal issues. So that is the paradigm of Wi-Fi testing and why it has really enhanced my knowledge of not only being a better overall QA detective, but being a better overall making sure that our products are of high standard and high quality. Thank you for listening.